고소는 없어요. 오늘 좀 되게 오늘 소통이 바뀌나.
성지 주동 소지 정남라 정처 바다 동예 저서 제가게 전소지 배송 줄라 판셔 성지 저버쇼 성지 주동 소지 정남 정처 바다 동예 저서 제가게 주신 예배송 남지 줄라 판셔 성지 저버쇼 성지 주동 소지 정남 정처 바다 동나 잡서 저다기 추신 예배 손남지 졸라 판셔 상진 저발쇼 어떤 차성라 드시게라죠.
This one is greeting everyone here.
되니 Jigme pama wantir ke atu 차성라 ni ribato chini taterang gutitso telo chuguchoni ti nangli ya chugunangli chujin Jigme Phunshok gongter Jampelyang shidrup chukur ko chachuda devi goni ngyndro ko chute sumdor dipa chi labgo se debe somba le tente ngavita to tikoni dordu chi shoyin.
No, the next thing that as the greatest by Jampelyang.
Recording in progress.
As requested by Jampelyang. Now this one is talking about the 7 essence, why the practice of Jampelyang is so different from other practices, and 10 preliminary practices.
Jampelyang, you need to use Rinpoche's device like microphone. Otherwise, if you are sitting together, there will be a problem with 2 microphones and audio.
Okay.
So please disconnect from audio, and we can see you, but Rinpoche's mic will detect your voice.
Botanita so sin do dang se chima le pambi chit tomba tuji chen sang di shakya to bi song bi tambi chu chi nyam se den ni ko towa da dang do yi chi yonene dang bo ngi chu ze me te le shom be rang shi ko bes chu ze me te ka zum chi la ba yana a ze wa chen jan la mun se ba jan la no pa me chi pa chi tang rang marg bi mo ba se tap chi le tambi chu ze.
Now he's only saying that Buddha's sayings, the Dharma, like why should we practice Dharma? Like in order to benefit us in the present life as well as the next life, right? So like what kind of Dharma? If concluded, what is Dharma? Which is saying that Dharma is something like which we like avoid harming other sentient beings as well as harming yourself. You avoid harming yourself by not doing harmful stuff, some sort of like harming others, accumulating sins. You avoid that by helping yourself as well.
Ni nongba sangji bi tambi chu se ya de la zeni de lo ndo ge chu se ya chi tang de ni ngok ge chu se de li ngok ge chu de la yong judev shetang de bi chu chi tang odeni chabar de kirbi oksar zoba chimbo chechi luchi ge sangji bi chu se de mongbo chi yo pares.
Now in Sanghis, now Buddha's saying Dharma, there are different types of Dharma. If concluded, there are 2, which is the Sutra and the Tantra. And the current Jampelyang is mainly falls under the Tantric practices. In Tantra too, there are many other practices, and the Tantric practice of Jampelyang falls under the Dzogpa Chenpo, the completion stage and the generative stage of Tantric practice, the primordial yoga.
Terang asu Jampelyang shidrup 그 추고 porni Jampelyang shidrup ke chu zekitela jantang mandravi chachu mandrava chi chachu number dunyo ze tikorni ngurjur do de chi pigins.
Now, his one is now our main topic is about the practice of Jigme shidrup. So there are 7 reasons. There are many reasons, but today we must be 7 reasons why shidrup is really different from other practices. Compared to other practices, why is it so different?
Chachu mandrava chi chapart kirvi chachu dunyo pinani chachu tangbo de japar zupa chembu chu gnani Jampelyang shidrup ke chu zeyatela zenitelo songkhan ta chu ji yibjen noren Jigme Phunshok jongni khonginna jipten Jampelyang ko chulwa sudmit yongsa chakbares.
Now, the first essence, the first reason why the practice of Jigme shidrup is very different, very unique compared to other practice is that the one who started the practice of Jigme shidrup, the one who said the practice of Jigme shidrup is the Jigme Phunshok himself. Like Jigme Phunshok is the true manifestation of Manjushri, and there's no debate. And there's no debate. It is incompatible. That Jigme Phunshok is the manifestation of Manjushri. Basically, the reason why practice of Jigme shidrup is very different. The first reason is it is said by the manifestation of Manjushri, Jigme Phunshok.
Lin Jampelyang shidrup senyag chute songsa ga sa nam yigela paksa songsa ga sa de Jampelyang ni chu ro serngani songbares.
Now, the second reason why the Jigme shidrup practice is so different compared to other practices is that Jigme shidrup practice, when Jigme said it, it was said in the manifested paradise of Manjushri himself. What's maybe in Chinese word we say Hutaishan. In that place, in that valley, Jigme first said the practice of Jigme shidrup, and which is also well known as the manifested paradise of Manjushri.
Dene chachu samba de na Jampelyang shidrup si chute chu zoba chembo yimbala teni nga kiwa tamba phoda mosa inna nyamsa langna ne rabna dawa tik mayna chichik lushik sangji bi chu yimbala teni yang chu jandi khapar tam pares.
Now, the third reason why the practice of Jigme shidrup is really different compared to other practices is that the practice, individuals having a superior capacity and superior intelligence, they will attain enlightenment in just 6 months through the practice of Jigme shidrup. If not, it will take only one lifetime of an individual to attain enlightenment through the practice of Jigme shidrup if you put hardship into it.
Dene chachu jiba de na ne Jampelyang shidrup zeyite shinde ni kyang nyebgit Guru Rinpoche ni chuji yibjen noren Jigme Phunshok barta gongter ke tsirta gongpa ni gongpa phubi gongter yimba tang deyang zammo tagnang tang jirvi chuchi yimba la teni gongter tang tagnang zomjir ke chu yimba la teni shinde ni kyang chillap chiwa wotendi ke gupa yuares.
Now, the fourth reason why the practice of Jigme shidrup is really unique from other practices is that the passing lineage of Jigme shidrup practice is very close, and still the blessing in the Adhisthana is still intense. And another one is that the practice of Jigme shidrup is the union of mind treasure of Guru Rinpoche as well as the pure vision of Jigme Phunshok. The mind treasure of Guru Rinpoche has been directly transmitted to the vision of Jigme Phunshok, and through that vision, Jigme wrote it down. That's why it is well known as the union of mind treasure and the vision of Guru Rinpoche, the Padmasambhava, and the Jigme Phunshok.
Dele Jampelyang shidrup ke chu jandi khapar ta kirwa ngapa de na won ba yuares chuji Phunshok yang takbi jangkam dewa chan shig ni lo jobjet samjili manjuwa yimbi cherna Kongo gongter ke zapchu chabar chand phap ni tata ko bar ta Kongo hulup ngoma o matok mateli lhoma gal shini tuin rambo Jigme pala teni nyeb jit ke chabar phakpa chim bares.
The fifth reason why the practice of Jigme shidrup is really different, unique compared to other practices is that the practice of Jigme shidrup itself, the adhisthana, the blessings in the oral transmission, the instructive transmission, the empowerment transmission, is the lineage is very close, as well as the adhisthana, the blessing is still very intense. That's why it is really unique compared to other practices.
Daron Jampelyang shidrup ke chukur tela chu jandi chabar tam phakpa trikpa te koin senana chu ti ngyndro sakna yang da ngji kerm ke nyamlin china yang da teni zorum tsarno yoka inna da zuba chembu takar te nyamlin china yang nyamlin kang china yang tab demo choka kaftuk meba oteni chi cha changwa oteni ke tab de to goni nyamselin chuchuk chu ji yamba tela teni yang o choka te chikang ze go kaftuk mambo che go bando jani khasap do ling go bando tenti kang meba khorang rango thapa o kiwar chi sang jibala khorang ganang la machang ba meba tenti yimbi chachu te yubares.
The sixth reason why the practice of Jigme shidrup is very unique compared to other practices is that the practice of Jigme shidrup, the puja, whether it be puja in the practice, whether it be with the chantings, or maybe any type of pujas which consists in Jigme shidrup, is like very simple and easy to perform, unlike the other practices which really requires the pujas from different other and very hard to perform, right? So like the practice of Jigme shidrup is really easy to perform as well as really simple.
Then Tam Jampelyang shidrup ke chu de tambi chu jandi chabar tam phak pi chul dunba de na chuk nyong la tun duba yimba ma chit ta nga chu ngyndro do chi sakna yang kyamro tang simkil la so ba yang chuk nyong thong ge chi li me pa jangka yang teni bum saya chin sak ma go ba teni li tangbo wa nam ge nyamselin na tab dewa o chi tenti ge trust chi tong chi ya chi zamre sak jigna yang o tege yang chi ge masak pa chimbo yo ba lami jarkin yo ti bala teni na sik nyongwa tang sakna jangka yang nyongo chi li sak ma tab nang na shinlap chimbo thopi gu ba yo ba ta chachu den ba res.
The seventh reason why the practice of Jigme shidrup is different compared to other practices is that the practice is very short, very simple, and the chanting required is in a very less quantity. There are some other practices which require chanting of more than 100,000, maybe millions, but practice of Jigme shidrup only requires around 10,000 of chantings, and it's very simple. Just because those words are less doesn't mean that the adhisthana is very less. It is tantric practice, and that's why it has really less words, but it has a really great adhisthana and blessings in it. That's why it's really suitable in the current time, deteriorated times, and it will be really helpful if an individual practices the practice of Jigme shidrup nowadays.
O teni lapar ta Jampelyang shidrup ke chukur des na gongter jiba nang ji chu ji vision nor Jigme Phunshok Jampelyang ke trwa te ge Jampelyang ke jankam ni khoryang foman tepa tang damba churchig lakchig kir khorchig le nyam tan zum yo pi ti so te lo song ba yim ba la teni ton ba khor chu tang jiba phusum chok ba ngar den ga rang jin ji yang ge yo ba te ge nga zo Jampelyang shidrup ke chu ten thogmar gewa part gewa thamar geba trashi shang shinlap chi bi chu ji res.
The practice of Jigme shidrup, when Jigme Phunshok was saying the practice of Jigme shidrup at first time, Jigme Phunshok with himself, there are more than thousands of his followers, which represents the Buddha and his followers as well. So that's why the adhisthana is very intense in the practice of Jigme shidrup. Plus, with the Jigme shidrup practice, the preliminary practice, maybe the preliminary practice, or maybe the ending or the mineral practices, any practice which falls under the Jigme shidrup practice, it's really intense. The adhisthana is really intense, and the blessing is really intense. That's why Jigme shidrup practice is really unique compared to others.
An Jampelyang shidrup je yagi chu ngoma tambi chu desan kong la tok de zina mang atoyoka zopa chimbu chu la tok chires.
The practice of Jigme shidrup. Because it's Buddhism, Dharma, it falls under the practice of Tantra. Tantra too, there are different types. In Tantra, it falls under the Jigme, which is the completion stage. The Jigme shidrup practice falls under the completion stage.
Zopa chimbo atoyoki nyamne nimbala teni na tela hunro to so ngipara to hunten jovi goni nyamne china na te rang gila Phunshok res.
Since the practice of Jigme shidrup is tantric practice, it is a primordial yoga. That's the practice of, since it's the practice of tantric practice and a primordial yoga, Jigme shidrup practice requires preliminary practices.
Ta tela hunro nyamse lengona hunro se tela hunro la chithamba yo res.
Now we talk about the preliminary practice, right? The Jigme shidrup's preliminary practice. In Jigme shidrup's preliminary practices too, there are 10 types of preliminary practices.
Hunro chitham ganani hunro tela shi guba chik nga dang laglen la tabni drup guba chik nga te tini chithamba res.
Now in these 10 preliminary practices, it is again divided into two, which is the 5 theoretical parts and the 5 practical parts.
Ti nang ni tangbo hunro se nyam se len ni go towa ta tang to yung kan chi na tangbo shi guban ka ta ka re zena ne shi guban ka ga nang ni tangbo tamjur ko melu rambo che yang ni yang da thup ka wa tarta thup yo pa de ton da tamba chi yim ba de shi gubares.
Now in the 5 theoretical practices, the first one is realizing that your current human form, current human life form, it's really difficult to get. And after getting this, your current life form is like consists of 8 suitable and 10 exhalated conditions. And it consists your current life form consists of 18 favorable conditions. And that's why it's really difficult to get. And knowing this, putting your body, speech, and mind into Dharma is really important.
Shirnan jikten ga kamna mulu thop ge ya chi semchen jang ga tangka dan tinan jangka dan tinan shinda ni kyang nyongo o teli chi yem bare ti nang ni kyang sep chima la samlo tang khan tang jan semchen la samlo tang de tambi chu dripi mulu te na shinda ni kyang konba o teni thop ka wa teli chi yem ba shi go bare.
The practice of Jigme shidrup, like I've said before, like Holiness said, the practice of Jigme shidrup, the first one is like knowing that your current human life form is really rare. Human form itself is really rare, and there are different types of human form, which is really rare. And your current life form, which conditions, is the most rare of all human forms.
Then hunro chu chatambi nang shi guba nga yo pi nang ni pa te na ne se matak pa yim ba shi guba res. Se matak pa ze gete shinut kunjik ten nang chik sem jen gong yin nang wa yutsat tamche takba tambak tan ni me pa otani jirbi rom shin chan yim ba te nga su shi guba chires.
Now the second practice in the 5 theoretical practices is that the knowing that everything is impermanent and everything is the nature of uncertainty.
Ti nang li kyang rang tamjur ko melu rambo che shind ni kyang za chewa gar chewa ton chewa on de di chi top yo pa te ni kap top yo pa za ma to de yang tak pa te tamba me pa otni nam shayong ma shi ba chi wi kin kang ge shi ma shi ba o te la nga su yang ni yang ta sam lo tang ni tam bi chu de ba ta maung ba la men chu pa san li de ni go chu ta ba ta chi na so shi ki shi gu ba res.
Holiness again saying that since you have acquired a human life, which is really rare to get of all the human life forms, it's really important to know that after getting this human life form, it is really uncertain. You never know what will happen. You never know when your human life will end. That's why knowing that you may not live tomorrow, knowing that you're not sure you might not live tomorrow, putting your body, speech, and mind into Dharma is the second theoretical part.
Teningoto chuchetamga nangli shiguba nga nangli samba li gimdi la yechi shegete shiguba jires li gimdi zegete ngubo tamchik nilik tang chunye chipsha yubari mato chig nangba yinda men chulukhi linda melingi chapar mare dorna gyokang dribna na tela tendi gyola tembi driwa gyote tambi driwa chig jongjet jiktin ngubu chunye yimba tele yechi shene ngachu yinna chig samba ngamba tang chupa ngamba ta kang chak ma pongje tang samba zambo tang chupa zambo ta ranga tanglin chegete li gimdi la yechi shibi togni shiguba jires.
The third practice in the theoretical practice is that knowing that karma, the existence of karma, then this nature, this reality is the nature of karma, the cause and effect. So, like the inevitable karma. That's why knowing that this reality is nature, we shouldn't do sinful and bad, and you won't be able to practice dharma. That's putting yourself into good things, putting yourself into dharma, knowing that the results will come out as you want. The results will be like you will get enlightened. Putting yourself with that concept in mind, putting yourself into dharma is the third one.
Tene shiguba jabate nane li gimdi la yechi shigubate li gimdi la yechi machi bachini li murge bi wanta tesonane sipshima khurwa tang ngansong la chamguba dilpi li ki dingar jong lo me pa ma da teni te sipshima khurwa tang ngansong la ki jete te lo me paris te yennan khurwa kong la ki ronga nyarba la ki na chatang de dingar yetak la ki na tikum ge dingar tando la ki na sigla sigsawa la so bi dingar lunmong ge dingar dev sint ma tang thamen tang thala so bi roa ritikala kinayang dungar krang matok nebate matsuyang shigubat kalchimbores.
Now the fourth practice in theoretical practice is that knowing that whether you are born in any kind of realms in the samsara, no matter high realm, a really peaceful realm, or maybe a really suffering realm, there's always pain and suffering, unless it's not a samsara. If you're born in the animal realm, there will be like eatings, maybe hunger, poverty. If you're born in ghost realm, there will be its own problems. If you're born in God's realm, there will be its own problems because it's samsara. So wherever you're born in samsara, it's always nature of suffering and pain. Knowing that is the fourth practice in theoretical path.
Teni shiguba ngabate khorba dingar yemba shini dingar teli tharndotang dingar te myong magu ba chiona samji cholo samba chiona yinchik meni dingar teli tharbarka tharbi thabnam chemkhan go lama gi shinyin chik ten gubat shindeni chankal chimbo yemba teng machu shigubares.
Now the fifth one in the theoretical part is that now you might be thinking like it is the samsara is the nature of pain and suffering. How should we avoid that, right? How should we escape from that? With that thought, now you should think of depending upon a guru. Without a guru, you'll be really hard to escape samsara on your own. Fifth practice, like knowing to depend upon a guru in order to escape the samsara.
Lama gi shinyin tengu zetiang pena nepa ge doctor tang mangkang ten guba nongsin ngachu sim nyomong bi wang te yopi dochik jetang tum ngar giram chagduk sirna la sobi nyomong ba tamchin marphap tang gona laman chembi dagbo chikdang nyamnyong yom khanchik la tenni nyomong ba marphap tang guba re ma tok temer jamba kong yang ngachu nyomong ba marphap tang thuk mari sim go nyomong ba marphap tang ma thuk nane teni sim go nyomong ba la tenni dingar tanga su teni pang thuk wa mari te yak bo chik guba is.
Now this one is again focusing upon the fifth one, which is depending upon a guru. Why should you depend upon a guru? Right? There's no reason to depend upon a guru if you want to escape the samsara. You must saying it is not like that. If you want to escape a samsara, you must give an example like give an example of a patient. If he really wants to escape his pain, if you really want to get healed, he have to depend upon experienced doctor, right? So like we us humans, us being human beings and sentient beings, us being under the control of the 5 poison, or maybe the 3 poisons, we do not know our way out of samsara. So we should depend upon an experienced guru who has been out of samsara and who will teach us the way out.
What is so tang ngondro chu chithamba ga nang ni shi guba chik nga ta tres ta shi guba nga shi pi thong ni lama gi shi ni ji ten na na ta lama gi shi ni ta ten ni khong nga chu sem gup chuka te sem chuka jab ni nyomo apang wi thap tham chik nang li nyam silim bi chu tangbo ta lama te ga kyam ro song yong ga de kon chuk sam la kyap san ro je tang kon chuk sam ze ji te ngu zin ba chik tang kon chuk sam la tapa che shi ba chik tang ye chi ga tapa ga ken yu lang ni kon chuk sam la ye ni te su me bi kyam ro ga nyam lim che je de la tam cha ye bo chi she shi ge de kyam ro ze la ke ba yin di ta kyam ro gum kyam ro ndun chang o te di she ge de ta nga su ngon ro chu che tham ba ga nang ga drup gu ba nga ga tang bo te re.
Now he's only saying about, since we have done about the 5 theoretical parts, now it is the 5 practical parts. The first practical part is like, now that you have the concept of depending upon guru, you have started to rely upon a guru. The first thing your guru instruct you to, the first step you should take, or maybe the first step your guru will teach you, is taking refuge upon the from the triple gem, which is the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Taking refuge from these 3, your guru will first teach you this. It is because without taking refuge from the triple gem, without the proper promises taken from them, it won't be easy for you to escape samsara. That's why the first practice in the practical part is the taking refuge from the triple gem.
O teni kyamro te so yang chetap kang tap khani yang trangka kang mang sak sim ga yang gum o teni che ta ta nyam silin gupi drup guba tangbo de teni ta ngondro chup chithamba ga nang ni drup guba nga yo pi nang ni drup guba ni ba ta konchok sum la kyap sun ro ni rang ga lunga yasam go gewa drup je te tang nyamlin che yang rang to nuk chilpo go wang den ro ma chik ba semchen tamchit hama gandashi jagni hama semchen tamchit sanji ga kompang thopi tabla ni konchok sam la kyap san ro ni chu drop yen samni ta thusam gongsam la spi nyamlen kang sinang shangchip sem ga zin bar ni sem ket te yang tangka ga goni sak je tang drup je ta drup gu ba ni pares.
Now he's only saying about the second practice, which is putting up the bodhicitta mind. Now bodhicitta mind, we have, for example, the first practice is taking refuge, right? We took up a refuge upon the 3 triple gem. You have to promise that you will, until and unless you attain enlightenment, you won't take refuge from other gods except the 3 triple gem. Taking that promise. Now, the second one, the putting up the bodhicitta minds, you take every sentient beings as your as your parents, as your mother, because there's no there isn't any beings who haven't been a sentient being in your past life even once. So knowing that every sentient being is your mother in your past lives, you have to put up the bodhicitta minds, thinking that not only me, for all the sentient beings to get enlightened, I have to attain enlightenment first. With that bodhicitta mind, we have to. That's the second practice, putting up the bodhicitta mind.
Teni drup guba samba te ne ta semchen thamchik ka don da sanji ka kompang thop gona ne sanji ka kompang thopin Phunshok Phunshok ko sonji sak je de kar chembo yimbala te ni teni amchi sonam ga chota mugme thop sapala sop sabi ta ngudro shen na mandar phulendo teni yo bare te japala shidrup ka nani na rang le tang longcho tang tusum gewi chotang chi ba thamchi te lama konchok sum jipsan Jampelyang tenchin chawi lama la phal samni ne kangla yang chapa jemba mepi goni yotsat ni yotsat lama konchok sum la phal phar gubate semchen ga ton da sanji ga kompang thoba lam Phunshok sok jok bi chet mugni te di che get yang khani yang sak guba sak singa yang gum 어떤지 제게도 ngyndro chuchi nang drup gupa ngayo pi nang sambares.
The third practice, the practical part of the preliminary practice, is accumulation of merits. There are two types of merits: the conceptual wisdom and the non-conceptual merits. These two are the seed to eternal enlightenment, accumulation merits.
Deni semching ga ton the sanji ga kompang thoparan dopa ti chok sabba dang. Deni drapa jangwa sidi sanji ga kompang thopar shipa la wartak chopin garkin digba dang drapa takbar shipa jangwar shabi chet nyembo top jatang chibi goni dikshak sheki tere. Ta tela enna no nyembo top ji nang tengi top dengi nam khana rang chawi lama tang ngo yir me pa imba. Jipsan Jampelyang gom Sun Jimbi top ngun go dikpa tang dripa thamchi sakpa la lunjut chi ndopa chi thar dokbi top ta Phunshok rangalunga yasam dramba tang shibshin go goni kan chak go goni dikpa merkewa mapsakpa la tamcha shi ta par to sak yopi dikdrop te takbi chet lu go goni shakn sal ngak go goni sondip ko tsing donte nyamlin chejite dikdrop takbi thap chapar chanres.
Now, if I again talk about the third one, accumulation of merits, compared to other preliminary practices, the other practices they put up mandala, offering of mandala, and lots of things done. But in practice of shidrup, all you have to do is visualize that you are offering yourself, your body, speech, and mind, everything related to you, and everything of your wealth. And your every merits you have accumulated now, you're offering everything of that to Manjushri, and that way you're starting to accumulate merits. Now the fourth one, purification of sins. If the merit is the main thing supporting enlightenment, the thing which disturbs you, which stops you from getting enlightenment, is the sin. So this purification of sin is very important. Now, in purification of sins too, there are four essence of purifying your sin. The four essences. The first one, tengito, which means like visualizing the Manjushri above you. And second one is having a regret upon your merits, upon your sins, having a regret upon your sins, and then confessing your sins. The third one is promising that you won't do from now on. Promising you won't do the same sin you have done, you won't make the same mistake. And the fourth one is, in order to confess the sin, you have to do the prostration, chanting with your bodily work, in order to make your body, speech, and mind face the hardship, in order to purify the sin.
What ngyndro chuchi thamba ga nangin thamjik drup gupa nga ga nang thama lami namjor singor yokas lami namjor zekite yang dengi nam khalo kwadin changarang ga sawi lama nam tang thab lama konchuk thamchi ni semepa chukton zomba jipsan Jampelyang ga kumdenni tapa ta mukutrakbu ye chishi ji sorwa tapte khani yang surde don jang Sim Gatania, ye chishi the concho kundugo, ye chishi, Lami near some the Ozer Karman Tangsam Las of Panja Shervajan Duntu, Ranga Ning Yosum Latum, Luma Yosum Gadraba Jami Mupake, Goson to go on the Shin of Mudu Topi Mubaji, Tar Lama and Jean La Tumde, Ranga Lunga Yosum, Laman Jambi and Goson to Tang Irmit the Kero Samni, to eat the Irmit the Seva La Sopi, Lami Namjola Yamlin Chekitere. Ta tester lami namjola nyamlen china josum urgunzan lama thamchi ke tongyut ku shinla brangla jigbi guba yo ba ta chi tani lami namjor tega kerum lan chamjor ke yo bares ta lami namjor ta chi ba sak sardrup sar nyamnyong kala kansam thop sarvi machi yinnane ochi watamba phomoti ta lami namjor kun jigni kerum ziramba ni ge nyamlen kanali nang se takpal his chun kor to gombi Kerumlan, some Jurbi Chuyambala Tenina, lami namjur the tangunro go chuche tamjik kachiwa dan tonchi chujigres.
Now the fifth one, the fifth practice of all the 10 preliminary practices, the Guru Yoga, visualizing the Manjushri above your head in the form of your Guru, in the nature of Guru, and in the form of Jampelyang, the Manjushri, visualizing that, and rays, visualizing the rays of white red and blue rays, rays coming from the body, space, and mind of the Manjushri, and dissolving into your body, space, and mind, and purifying all your sins, blessing you in your body, space, and mind. And the reason to visualize that, the reason to practice Guru Yoga is there's a high chance that all the tantric practitioners, all the blessings from all the tantric practitioners will be blessed upon you. That's why. Plus, the second reason why the Guru Yoga is very important is that Guru Yoga is the only boundary which separates the Sutra and the Tantra. Beyond Guru Yoga, it will be the practice of tantric practices, which will consist of the caring and the two stages, which is the completion stage and the generative stage.
Oh, that is Taranjapul Shidrup Kuchunyams, Lenig, Tando, Tang, Toa, Tang, Yechi, Tang, Tepa, Yonkanchi, Yanana, and Japul Shidrup Kuchu. Job choose take Sanji Lafter Tang, Tambibon is Zupa Chambo, Sech, Luchik, Yamlin, Yamselin Katang, Keram Tang, Zorum Yoka Sarno, Las of Yamlin, Jennig, Tushi, Tang, Toa, Tando, Yonkanchi, Yana, Tambo, Mondro, the Niperte, Yenchik Mani Yamlin Zakubari. ngyndro zegetela tata kong de jubanang jingo shi guba nga tang laglin la tabni drup guba nga te ngyndro chu chathamba te tanga su manche ga nang la nyamlin chini o khani sak guba sak sim gu gum guba gu teni lugun zak guba te sun zat te lunga yusam chitr ko ni nyamlin number takba chu shit thabna ne teni chu ka nyams len na tab demo chinlap jigba o teni khorwali tharwa Jantun tang jantun person supandribi gubayo pares.
Now, knowing the importance of Jigme, if an individual, if any one of you is really interested to practice the practice of Jigme, the practice of the 10 preliminary practices is very important. The 5 theoretical parts and the 5 technical parts, the 5 practical parts. After doing this, then you can preliminary practice in your life, then you can step up on the next practice of the tantric practices.
Oh, taterang asutene yongdirka zintong lamni. Tenin Jigme pama dirka rewa namshin. Natsu chutuk pomo mambo chit ta nyamda chik. Lu yirshuk ta longshuk susu na yonayang. Tenin nyamda zomni na. O ngarang kateni chushak liram dong dorti chik pibate terang te chamjigin ta mangbo nga chushak gonane yang nga chon de la ngarang yu sambom thang chime chude pong ta chang de nang de terang number zambu lang ge umag chik muke te sola chik jetap tang doktap zo chibi rang ge choksak drabshang ge ta puja karm chapar chen Jiptan drama goni chimon song drio palatini na yang tusu demyang mangbo chime palatini erang nga su chushak liram te chamjiyans.
Now the historian is saying that this is the 2 day stations, these are the 10 preliminary practices is the 2 day stations as requested by Jigme himself, as requested by him. Rinpoche said the 10 preliminary practices in 2 day session, and this will be for 2 days the session. Rinpoche is really happy. Rinpoche is saying that he's really happy that today it was a successful meeting through Zoom, through video call, and Rinpoche says even though all of us, our body and speech is not together, our minds are all together, and since we are under the same dharma, we shall attend soon. And plus, he's only saying that today Rinpoche will only talking about these topics because it will take more time, and since it here in Chumipang where Rinpoche is saying reciting, there's a puja going on, the Green Tara puja, Phunshok going on, and it's really, Rinpoche is really busy scheduled nowadays. So that's why today's session will be this much.
Not so long shop so na yo na yang. Louis yel so na yo na sim Gypton drama ka lama Gypton drama mi kyaw lu chiga bin zom te yo bi mu ba keni zambu lang ma chigda mukeda nat ken jigba te so nyerta jechu se dochi se nga so cha chang yang ki wa ser drama ji su zong shi yel ni Gypton drama nang jeng ka khangsum korwa tong ni chigbi roton jachimbo chi onchu se te thamche ka thumun na ro.
He's only saying that the reasons why it is the great puja is going upon here is the main reason is to peace up the world over the ongoing pandemics, ongoing problems going upon, the ongoing wars and everything going on, just to peace up all of these things and make all the sentient beings attain soon. And he's only saying that even though all of us, our bodies are all separated, we is requesting all of us to put our mind together and pray to Green Tara so that there will be peace in this world as soon as possible.
The Nipshin Chup Yanayang, Japal Shidrup, Ngyndro Chuchitamba, Nyamin, Cheniga Tushi, Tang to the Tua Yunkanine, Jarkop Shanakona Yunayang, Tatangasu, Jigme Pama one Jertang, Jervan Tabnayang, or Kongayang, not Nara Yosala Yonte. To Drambo, Chila, Yansen Mepigoni, Japal Shidrup, Ngyndro Corni, Nyamlin Chetang, she Jamba in Bamatset, Hongati Corniang, John Dartan, Hob John Tisoyang, and Chikan Maman Zat Yobalateni, or Cheran so she Jarkabna Yong Kantesuga, and Jigme Pama one Jertan, Jervan Tabni, Japal Shidrup, Ngyndro Sartang Gortang, or Tisola Hob John China, Maum Bana, Natsoyang Yam Chita, Kirkor Chicken Zombie to Suchi Yongres.
His son is saying that if anyone is interested upon the practice of Jigme, whether it be inside country or maybe foreign country, you may ask Jigme Wangyal, because Jigme Wangyal had come to Rinpoche resides few weeks back. He's been here. He has been practicing the Jigme practice and still practicing, and he knows pretty much well. And if anyone wants to practice the practice of Jigme, you may come and ask. Ask Jigme Wangyal, because he knows a bit more. And he's only saying that through the practice of Jigme, we shall soon meet up on the same mandala someday.
The name Budanga Nana Yopinga so Chutok Pomo in Nan, Japal Shidrup, Ngyndro, Nyamlin, Cheniga Tushi, Tang to Ayomate Sogo, then a Chimedram. Didn't around to Chutok Homan. Mine Narang Tantiran Tibnayang, then Aranga Chishi Kanshi Goni, Wang Gosala Wang, Long Gosala Long, Chut Gosala Chut Tiso, the Chit of Gantop Goni, Chinabala Japshis.
He's only saying that if you're residing in foreign countries, you may ask Jigme Wangyal. If you're residing in Bhutan, where Rinpoche resides, you may ask Madam Kile, Rinpoche's followers and all other Rinpoche's followers who has been practicing Jigme. And if you happen to meet Rinpoche, you can even ask Rinpoche, and Rinpoche is saying that he will be happily teaching you about the Jigme Ngyndro as far as he knows.
What Tenita so Jimayang, Ken Kurchila Yamdan Zomio, Kiva Serap Tamchit and Jarwa Mepa, Sangiga Tantunda, Simching and Roton, Yachimbochi, won't you use it? Tashi Dela Yola.
He's only saying, greetings everyone, thank you so much. And he's only saying that he's hoping someday we all will meet, and we will again meet someday in the same meeting, and just like.
So the Tanche by Tony Nibi, Darnam Panche Chang, Kiga Nanchi, Balong Chupai, Serbian Soli, Dornam Drolavara Show, Dachirandani, Terra Tamche, Lama Lobu, Lai Jesus, Topsamayundan Jamsu, Tela, Tandru Tunchin, by Major Barasho. Kadinche, Tashidele.
Kadinche Rinpoche. Kadaju.